You know, when we picture the Founding Fathers, we kind of see them as this unified team, right? All charging together towards independence. But what if I told you that one of the men who actually signed the Declaration of Independence initially voted against it?
Yeah, that's the story of George Reed. He's a founder whose journey is so packed with contradictions, it really makes you rethink how the United States was even born. So the big question is, how on earth did he pull that off?
To really get a handle on just how important this guy was, we got to start with the number 4. George Reed was one of only 2 statesmen in all of American history to sign these 4 huge, foundational documents. The only other person was Roger Sherman. That puts him in some seriously elite company, and it makes his initial no vote on independence even more of a head-scratcher.
So, all right, let's meet the man behind this massive contradiction. So, George Reed. He was born in Maryland, but he really made his name in Delaware as this incredibly respected lawyer and politician. People knew him for his razor-sharp legal mind, and honestly, he had a huge influence on Delaware politics his entire life.
And here's the absolute key to understanding him. Unlike some of the more, let's say, fiery revolutionaries, Reed was all about trying to reconcile with Great Britain. Sure, he was against things like the Stamp Act, but he was really hesitant to make that final, total break.
And to get why Reed was so cautious, you have to look at the political scene back in his home state of Delaware. It was basically a battlefield of ideas. See, in 18th century Delaware, you didn't just have minor political disagreements. Oh no, you had 2 full-blown factions, the court party and the country party. And this rivalry, it shaped everything.
This chart just lays it out perfectly. Reed was the leader of the conservative court party. They wanted to find a peaceful way forward with Britain. And on the complete other side, you had the radicals, Caesar Rodney and Thomas McKean, who were pushing hard for immediate independence. This political rivalry was setting the stage for a major showdown.
And all this political tension, it was about to absolutely explode, right at the most critical moment in Delaware's history.
So when the Second Continental Congress finally called the vote on independence, George Reed, sticking to his moderate guns, voted no. He just felt the whole thing was way too rushed.
Now here's why that was such a massive deal. His colleague, Thomas McKean, voted yes. That meant Delaware's vote was completely deadlocked. And if they couldn't cast a vote for independence, the entire resolution for American independence could have failed. The whole thing was at risk. So in a scene that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, an urgent message gets sent to the third delegate, Caesar Rodney, and he famously rides 80 miles through the night in a storm, arriving just in the nick of time to break that tie and cast Delaware's vote for independence.
And this is the pivot in George Reed's story. Even though he voted no, the second that motion passed, he signed the Declaration of Independence. He was a pragmatist, through and through. The decision was made, and now national unity was way more important than his own personal caution.
But Reed's journey from contrarian to founder was far from over. He was about to become a central player in actually shaping the new nation's government.
I mean, just look at this evolution. By the 1780s, that cautious moderate guy was pretty much gone. Now he's a leading voice demanding a new, stronger government, and he was absolutely instrumental in making Delaware the very first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution.
At the Constitutional Convention, Reed transformed into this fierce champion for the small states. He was terrified the bigger states would just swallow up the smaller ones, and he fought tooth and nail to make sure every single state had equal representation in the Senate.
And right when you think you've got this guy figured out, boom, another stunning contradiction emerges. Turns out this champion of states' rights held a secret, much more radical view. Can you believe that? He actually argued for getting rid of the states completely. He wanted one single, powerful central government. So at the exact same time he was threatening to walk out to protect Delaware's rights, his personal ideal was a nation with no states at all. It's just a fascinating paradox.
So how did this incredibly complex figure wrap up his career? Well, he went all in as a dedicated nation builder.
He served as one of Delaware's very first U.S. senators, and he sided with the Federalists. This really shows his full transformation, right? He ended up supporting the very thing he once proposed in its most extreme form, a strong, consolidated national government. His career was, it was nothing short of remarkable. From leading Delaware during the war to helping write the Constitution and finally serving as both a U.S. Senator and Chief Justice of his state's Supreme Court, his impact was just immense.
So here's the bottom line. George Reed's story isn't just about one guy. His journey from a cautious subject of the king to a pragmatic revolutionary and finally to a strong nationalist, it perfectly mirrors the evolution of the United States itself.
His story shows that the road to revolution wasn't some straight, easy line. It was complicated. It was messy, filled with debate and doubt, and it was forged by people as complex and contradictory as George Reed. It kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Does learning about a reluctant patriot's journey change how you view the whole American Revolution?